Hello, everyone. Hello. Okay, I'm on. That was challenging. But anyway, hello, everyone. Hello. We are talking today about a very interesting topic is the mood shifts, how it shows up in our life, why we have mood shifts. Because very often when, for example, clients come to me and they say, well, I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I don't know why I feel like that. 1 minute I am happy. I'm going to put on because I have the leak. One day I'm okay. And the other day the other moment I feel angry or I feel triggered. And that happens like a loop every single time, every single day. So I feel like my emotions going up and down, and it could be up to 5 different emotional states in an hour. Sometimes they can have like this peaceful, relaxed, quiet moments for a couple of weeks or even days. But mood shifts have the reason. And if we say, well, it's just me, there is nothing I can do, then yes, probably the reality will be according to that belief. So what you believe about the mood shifts, or these intense emotions that are going up and down and changing all the time, what you believe in, that's how your reality is going to be. For example, if you believe, it's hormones, and there's nothing I can do, I just have to regulate and balance my hormones. So that will help. Did that help? Maybe a little bit for sure, because hormones, right, do affect a lot of areas of our life. But did that actually help? Completely helped to level, to balance your emotional state? Did that help? Did that help for you to be in this kind of a middle, shift between each other, like, did that help? If they did, that may be the hormonal reason, the physical reason for the mood shift was resolved. There is a psychological reason for the mood shifts as well. So you need to take into account all parts of you: physical, emotional, and energetic. And physical is pretty simple. You Google it, you go to different experts and specialists to help level and balance your hormones. But what if it happens on a psychological or energetic level? That's something that usually we cannot get help. We don't even understand why that happens. So let's see what we discovered, what I researched about the mood shifts. Mood shifts, mood swings it's a habit. It's a habit of our mind. It's a habit of our mind to shift between different feelings and emotional states very quickly, because we've seen it before. Usually what we see, what we feel, is what we have experienced or saw before. So if you have mood shifts, for example, or you have anything similar, mood swings, complete change of emotional state, like one moment you are super happy, enthusiastic, and positive about your day, and in 5 minutes, there is a phone call or there is a conversation with someone, and you go down the slope, get into like this huge depressed mode. And then something happens and you are excited again, or you're angry. So usually if we talk about mood shifts, it's usually between super excited and enthusiastic and positive to depressed, sadness, right? Hopelessness, feeling out of control, to anger, fury, and frustration. So these are 3 emotional states that we jump in between. Sometimes in these 3 states, we can feel these amazing moments when we are relaxed and have this inner peace, where we feel like, it's not bad or good, it's just okay, it's just normal. The balance, right? We always on the balance, but we want to feel super excited. Have you ever noticed that we always seek happiness and balance in our life, but we always want to feel super excited and super happy and super fulfilled? Balance is like neither good nor bad. It just is. At this kind of a level when you feel inner peace. You're not overly excited and you're not super depressed and sad. So it's somewhere in the middle. And that's how you were born, right? Knowing that that feeling is available to you. What happens? That we stop having that inner peace and we start to jump in and out, in and out. And the thing is that our ego, the part of us that really took a lot of responsibilities from us. If you want to learn more about ego, the ego side of you, ego part of you, right? There are lots of different books and researches and articles, blogs, posts. You'll probably find a lot. But what it is, it's a part of us. We cannot suppress it. We cannot destroy it. We cannot eliminate it. We cannot eradicate it from our life. We cannot do that. What we can do is to take the ego under control, because ego is needed. Ego is needed. For example, you are in a very dangerous situation where you need to stand up for yourself. This is where the ego will really help, will really, really help you. But in other situations, it definitely doesn't help us. It harms us because it starts to control us. And we identify ourselves with that part. And we feel like, oh, that's just me. This is me. This is the angry me. We start to identify ourselves with ego. But ego is just a part of us. It's like a little tool, yeah, that you use to get what you want. So when we are growing up in the family, doesn't matter the dynamic, but maybe you can resonate. And you look at someone in your family, for example, mom, dad, sibling, caregiver, and they have these unexpected change of mood. So today they are super loving, or in this moment they're super loving, super understanding, and tell you like, yeah, you can have everything. And then the moment later, they are in fury, they are angry, right? They change it. So what you start to learn as a child in your mind starts to learn that anything can happen. Anything can happen. And since I see that every day, almost every day, or at the regular basis, it means that it's normal. And then you start to see it more often and you confirm that belief. Sometimes people ask me, and I've had that question in another life. They ask me, what if I've been in that situation once? Will I form the belief? The more emotional you are in that moment, the stronger the belief you're going to form. The more balanced you are, the more probable that probably you won't confirm that belief or form that limiting belief. So this is really important to know. If you are thinking, I had a traumatic or emotional or isolated moment, very, very dramatic or sad moment in my life, does that mean that only one event and I formed the belief? Yes, it could be, but it could not be. It depends. I don't know what your mind knows. Some people will need a couple of events and experiences in their life in order to really like, okay, this is it. Money don't grow on trees. For example, the limiting belief, right? Or money is evil. Or for example, I will never be happy. You will need not once to hear that in your life. So with the mood shifts, the same. It could be once or it could be on a regular basis. But since it's a habit, since our mind adopted it as a habit, we didn't learn how to regulate it at the early age, then it's very probable that it was constantly happening in your life before. It doesn't matter if it was mom or was dad or was sibling. We could even have a tutor, or a coach or a music teacher or it could be a math teacher that had a big impact on your life. And if they had those mood shifts, mood swings, these unexpected change of behavior for a child, they cannot understand it. They cannot find the explanation, the logical explanation. So you're now an adult and you go to the store and you see someone changes their mood right away. Like, for example, at the cash register, you go and you see someone really mad, and in a moment they are super happy and enthusiastic or super calm. So you see that shift. What will you think? What will you think about that person? You probably will have like a very logical explanation of that. Like, oh, that person didn't have a good day today, or that person doesn't know how to control their emotions. Something happened. You can feel compassion. You can feel frustration. That can annoy you as well, but you can explain that. You can absolutely find a reasonable explanation. When we are kids, we cannot do that. We cannot do that. So what we do, we connect it to our own identity. So when you look at your parents or siblings or whoever was raising you or had a big impact on your life, you might notice that as a child, as a 9, 8, 12, doesn't matter. When you see that, you feel that that's connected to you, that might be because of you, or you need to adjust to that. I need to adjust. The subconscious mind, when you adjust, for example, you start to suppress and you become a people pleaser. Yeah? You become to suppress the anger, the emotions, you suppress your needs in that unexpected mood shifts from people who raised you. You either suppress it or you adopt the same strategy, just like any other human being or even living being. We copy. So and it might not show right away. When we're kids, we're dependent. We're kind of out of control, and so we kind of play a role. And then it might show up later in life. Very often mood shifts intensified, right, with the age. It could be a teenage age, or it could be 2018 when people leave parents' house. So it doesn't matter. But the mood shifts don't come unexpectedly unless you had suppressed emotions. So that happened once, and I'll tell you this story. I had a client who was super, super in control of their emotional state. They had everything they wanted. They've achieved a lot in life, and then one moment, one trigger, and it's like exploded. The emotional state exploded. And then everything that was suppressed, because the person thought that she was just okay. She was okay. And she didn't have any mood shifts. Her hormones had a normal level, right? She suppressed her childhood, the trauma that she had, and she decided not to address it. And maybe it wasn't the time. You never know. Everyone's healing comes at the right place and at the right time. So when that happened with a person, they started to be very, very scared, and they freaked out because of their emotional state. And of course, they came to me, right, to help them in the hypnotherapy session. And what we revealed is that they have been suppressing emotions for years, decades. And then one moment, one trigger, at the right time, at the right place, we know, but we never know when that's going to happen. But that triggers us. And then everything comes out. Maybe not everything, but a lot of things comes out. And then we start to have mood shifts when we had like a long years of suppressed emotions. So mood shifts very often are going from the childhood. Like you know that it has been somewhere there, started somewhere around 9 to 18, or it could be like a release, like a trigger. something happened in life. You felt you were very in control, but then something happened and you started to have panic attacks out of nowhere, mood shifts, sudden, jump of emotions. The hormonal level went out the window. So that happens very often. You need to ask yourself, what is the case for you? Was it for you long ago? Did it start long ago in childhood? Or it was a trigger that, oh, you know what? That event happened. And that's when I noticed I started to be like not myself. That's, by the way, the most common explanation of people who have mood shifts. I feel like I'm not myself. I feel like I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know if I'm me. I don't know if I don't want to be like that. I don't want to behave like that. Very often, I don't feel like myself. I feel like there is something wrong with me. And that's a very, very old belief coming very early in life. So on a physical level, if you start to work with mood shifts on a physical level, that can help your physical body. And that can affect and impact your thought process and your emotional state for sure. But if you disregard emotional level and the energetic level, then it's going to come out in some other way, or it will keep coming back. So, by the way, mood shifts also a very, very common symptom of the symptoms like the premenstrual syndrome, right? PMDD, I think, right? if I'm not mistaken, but correct me if I am. PMDD, yeah. So it's the very common symptom, right? Because the hormones are going off the roof, and there's also a big psychological side to it. But PMDD is a completely different topic, and I worked with clients on that, and these are incredibly great result. Whoever has PMDD, I had it myself, very, very psychological. Of course, everything is in the combination. You need to work on all levels. Like you need to take care of your body, you need to take care of your mind, and you need to take care of your soul. On the energy level, what happens? Why we have, for example, you eat healthy, you exercise regularly, but you still have mood shifts. You still go up and down, up and down. Maybe it's in a period of time, or maybe it has been for a long time. What is that? It's not the physical then, right? It's not the physical reason. Then it's the psychological or energetic. On the energy level, the lower we are on the vibrations, the more suggestible we are to manipulations. So, for example, one phone call from your parents and some unpleasant conversation maybe can trigger you, because mind doesn't understand time. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand time, right? So it regresses you back to those moments when you got triggered, and it happens all over again. Remember, subconscious mind doesn't understand time. Time doesn't exist in the subconscious mind. And considering subconscious mind is 90 to 95% of your mind, can you imagine how many times in a day your mind regresses you back to patterns, to some even childhood behaviors or reactions, or to even like the trauma or flashbacks, by the way. Flashbacks, right? It's the huge kind of a symptom that mind doesn't know time. It can regress you back, and you can relieve it again and again. And flashbacks is when you actually can track it. But there are so many moments when you cannot even notice it because it's super fast. Your logic cannot even track it. So on the energy level, we become very suggestible to other people's energy. So you go to work and you feel positive. You feel like, yes, today is going to be a great day. And you set yourself up for success, and you go to work and there is someone there, maybe with toxic habits, maybe someone who is, you don't feel really good. Have you ever had the goosebumps on your skin? That's an energy. It's not just I'm cold. Sometimes you are in a warm room and the temperature is okay, you have goosebumps, right? When someone comes into the room or enters the office, and you feel, that's the energy. So this is the first ways how you can track the energy. So very often, if we are very, very suggestible to good things and to bad things, when you're suggestible, it's not like you're only suggestible to good things. When people come to me for a hypnotherapy session, they ask me like, can you suggest me negative things? I was like, no, but you can go outside and there are so many things where you can really you can be suggestible to negative things as well without even noticing that. So on the energy level, the lower you are, right, the more suggestible you are, the more ego is taken over. I'll explain about ego more, and how to recognize it. The more your body, your mind is prone to get triggered, and then the mood, boom, bam, and it can last for minutes, or it can last for hours, or it can last for days. It depends, right? It depends on how fast you can get out of that mode. The first question that you need to ask yourself when trying to understand mood shifts or to resolve them, to heal that part of you that gets triggered all the time, is who in your family or in your life, in your childhood, had a very similar mood shifts. Maybe it showed up a little bit different. For example, you got really, really excited as a child for something, and then someone comes home, mom, dad, sibling, and they say, no, you're not going to have it. You're too happy. Or like your excitement, right, is interrupted very, very, very suddenly, and then you go down. You become upset, disappointed, and discouraged. So when that happened, write down all the days and times and people when, not all, but try to kind of recollect, remember, reflect on your past events and experiences. When you identify that, usually what I really, really ask to do is to close their eyes and to imagine, do you want to be that person? Because if you're repeating that pattern as well, do you want to be that person? And most often people say no. So I would say 99%, people say no. I love, for example, that person, but I definitely don't want to repeat that life. Do you want to repeat that life? Because based on our mood shifts, this is how we create our reality. So you're super enthusiastic today. You're in the 5 minutes you are depressed, then you're angry, and all of these emotional states have thoughts. So today you're like, yes, I'm going to have it. Everything is great. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, no, there is no hope. Everything like is messed up. This world is messed up. And then again, you are angry. Oh, it's all their fault. Something like that, or complaining, right? Or victimizing. So when we have that, how the universe will understand what you want. In 10 minutes, you've gone through different manifestations of your life. So if you're super positive, if you keep being positive, the life will evolve in the way that you will absolutely love. If you are not, right, if you're angry, the events will happen according to the anger and the pain that you have, and so on and so forth. So ask yourself, do I want to live that life that person had? Usually as well, in 99%, you will say no. Most of the people will say, no, I don't want that. So when you identify that, you identify the person, you identify your desire not to be like that, try to ask what is holding you back. Usually it's going to be ego. So ego as a part of us, right? It will always give you excuses, justifications, explanation not to change anything. Ego doesn't like to change. That part of you doesn't like to change. It just wants everything to be familiar, the same, even if it's painful, unpleasant, and emotional. It's better than something unknown. So the ego doesn't like it. So when your ego took over your life, If it's a tool, then how did that tool actually took, you know, took over your life? So think about that. Usually it also will be in maybe childhood, maybe some, emotional moment that happened in your life, separation, divorce, loss of job, a loss of income, mm, losing a house, loss of a family member. These are emotional moments in which we also form the belief or confirm the old beliefs. Right? So that's when the ego starts to either blame ourselves as well, by the way, criticize, complain, put the responsibility on someone, right? It's all their fault or it's all my fault. So it doesn't matter if you blame yourself or someone else. The blame is a huge toxic emotion. So it doesn't, and if it's directed towards you, it's even more toxic to your body. When we blame ourselves, right? It's not a permanent feeling, right? So that's why we have mood shifts, because the higher self always wants to come out, right, to talk to you. So all of these positive moments, enthusiastic moments, inner peace moments, when you meditate, when you are on vacation, when you're by yourself, when you are spending time with family members and you enjoy it, right? All of these moments is like higher self wants to come out. Come on. You see, you can be happy. But ego is strong. Ego is very strong. But as soon as you start to identify it, to notice it, and to observe it, that's when you start the change. What happens when you start to identify the ego? You create that little space. So, for example, trigger, and this is a reaction. So the trigger happened, and then you react. This, for example, was the reaction that you don't like. That little space is so small when the ego takes over. It's super, super small. So what you can do by identifying the ego is creating a space. In that space, you can make decisions. You can have the power to make the choice. And it could be 5 seconds, and it's enough. So, when people, motivational gurus, all of them say you have the choice. You need to take responsibility for your life. You can do it, right? They are talking about that space between trigger and the reaction. So in that space, you can make a choice. But when there is no space, you feel like there is no choice. The ego takes over. That's it. How to identify the ego? Because once you identify it, you put it in its place, you regulate it, you control it. That's when the mood shifts. They are kind of going from this, going like less and less, and then going this. So that's really, really important. How identify the ego? The ego has symptoms. First is blame, guilt, greed, and jealousy. These are like very toxic, right, emotions. If you don't have that, right, and you like, okay, how can I identify it? Complaining, right, complaining about something, gossiping, right, putting the responsibility on someone, blaming the system, the government, the economy, the money, the inflation, all of these things. So that's the ego. So whenever you feel like inside you have this like frustration on someone, know that that's the ego. That's the ego. Because usually people who have ego under control, who regulate it, they usually recognize it and they say, yeah, I know. But it's okay. I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent. So you become indifferent. The best reaction you can have to outer condition is indifference. When you start to hate it or absolutely love it, those are intense emotions. If you have something, for example, if you know someone who hurt you before, right? Becoming indifferent to them will change the whole course of events for you, right? Becoming indifferent is actually part of the forgiving. So even if you feel like I can't forgive myself or I can't forgive someone else, okay, reframe it into different word. Say, I'm indifferent. I'm becoming indifferent to that person. Or I'm becoming indifferent to wherever you want to become indifferent to. Another way how to identify the ego is meditations, right? There are guided meditations where you can connect to yourself, having that quiet space by yourself. The less you can slow down your mind, right? The more the ego took over. So the less you can meditate, the more the ego took over. So very often people tell, I can't meditate. I can't close my eyes. I cannot. I can't. Like lots of thoughts are coming into my mind. I can't close my eyes. I cannot relax. So that's the indicator that the ego came out, that the ego took over. How to regulate, right? That how to gain control over your ego. First, to start to listen to it. What is it telling you? For example, you get angry. You have anger outbursts. Find out where. Where did you get angry? For example, you get super upset, sad, and hopeless, like this depressed mood. I'm not talking about depression, I'm talking the depressed mood, the sadness, sudden sadness, for example. Where is it coming from? Where is that lack of trust in the world is coming from? When you realize, when you understand where it's coming from, and trust me, what you think logically is not what your subconscious mind tells. I had clients who told me, I know where it's coming from. My dad was an alcoholic. Right? My dad was an alcoholic and he was always depressed or anxious or angry. So that's why I am like that. No, you're talking about your subconscious mind. What did you start to believe there? And what they tell me in their conscious mind is completely different what they tell me with their closed eyes and in a relaxed state. So that's very important to understand for everyone, that your logic and your subconscious are talking in different languages. They will tell you completely different things. And the bigger the conflict, the harder it is. So meditating. First, by identifying why, how, and where. Meditating, right? That helps a lot. Eating less sugar. Interesting, right? Eating less sugar and carbs. Sugar kind of soothes the pain, so you cannot recognize it, right? Sugar soothes the pain. Our mind connects to sugar to soothe the pain, right? I remember Marisa Peer would tell that sugar is, or these bakery items, it's fat and sugar together, right? And there isn't a lot of natural food that are like that. So your mind, it's only breast milk and formula that is that sugary and fatty at the same time in one product. Right? You might have some fruits like coconut, for example. It also has healthy fats and sugar, like fructose, but nothing like that, like the breast milk. So when you soothe yourself with sugar, it's soothing the pain. So if you eat less sugar and carbs, you come back to the conscious mind more often. Don't forget about the marketing purpose and the addictive purpose of sugar and carbs and all of the processed items. Don't forget that it's to sell, and for you to spend lots of money to be addicted. And the lower you get, because the sugar and the carbs, they're getting you lower, and they're like this, because the insulin, right? Insulin is spiking high. So the lower you are, the easier is to manipulate you and to manipulate. And don't forget that there are lots of control systems in this world that want to manipulate us. What else we can do was the mood shifts. So you've identified, for example, you do something for your body, you do something for your mind, right? Every time in a day when you notice that your mood shifted, have a phone. I'm not even asking the journal. Have a phone with you and just write down the triggers. Like write down the triggers. What just happened that just changed my mind? Maybe it's a Facebook post or Instagram post from your friend. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's the news from your kids, or anything. The comment from your partner could trigger you. So write that down. People always encourage to journal. I encourage to journal all the time. But maybe you don't have time at that time. Maybe you're just like, commuting to work, or you are doing something. Take your phone, write down the trigger. As soon as you write down the trigger, you start to identify, to see it. And then, hello. And then you can absolutely notice the pattern. So you write down 5, 10, in a day of these mood shifts. And then you can identify, a very similar pattern. For example, comments from my partner. Comments from your partner, maybe criticism, maybe a judgment, right? Anything. You look at that and you can, so I need to work on that. And that can change. So please remember that your mind is flexible and it retains flexibility throughout your whole life. This is a very important concept that everyone needs to know, because, by the way, my dad came to visit, right? And he said, it's me. It's like me. It's like I'm never going to change. I'm never going to change because, I'm too old to change. That's very often what we think, that we are too old to change, or it's, too much of the too stronger subconscious programming or anything else. No, it's not. No, it's not. Your mind retains, it's in all the book about anatomy. Like, read that. Your mind, your brain retains the flexibility throughout your whole life, which means that you can train it at any time. Feeling stuck. Feeling stuck is very often connected to the mood shifts. So very often people say, I'm stuck. I'm not moving anywhere, right? And then I'm either angry or upset or depressed or discouraged or frustrated or angry, right? Very often in a stuck mode. A stuck mode is also a process. You're stuck for a reason, right? You need to process something. Usually when you're stuck, the universe is giving you a sign. Please slow down and resolve what is triggering you or what is holding you back. So don't see this kind of froze moment, like moments in your life. I mean, the period of life. It could be a year, it could be 2, it could be 2 weeks or 2 months. But remember, consider that moment as a chance to look inwards. If you keep looking for answers outside of yourself, you can definitely find answers, but they will not always be tailored to you. The answers that you find in yourself are tailored to you. There is no one like you. So there is no way you can compare or compete with someone's healing, with someone's life, with someone's emotional, financial state, or physical state. There is no way, because there is no one like you. So how can you compare or compete? This was the biggest insight. And this is something that we need to repeat to ourselves all the time. I repeat that to myself all the time, because life happens and it's up and down all the time. But when you remind yourself that you can change, and you can change the mood shifts by addressing your mind and your ego. This is something that gives you mood shifts, triggers as well. There are so many triggers in this world coming through your ears, your eyes, your nose, your touch, everything. And even your sixth sense, right? Your intuition. There are lots of triggers coming in. And the less you know about yourself, the more triggered you get. So I hope that helps you. Also, very often, when we have mood shifts, is we cannot go inwards. We don't want to go inwards and find out the answers. Don't be afraid to go inwards. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try different methods of healing. If you're going to, for example, to see the therapist, the counselor, the social worker, or a psychologist, psychiatrist, how many sessions did you have? What kind of progress did you make? How many years, right? Do you feel you're moving in the right direction? Then go with it. But open your mind to different methods. Like you can try meditations, you can try yoga, you can try working out, you can try healing, any type. Like try different, explore, be an explorer. This is the best way to resolve the pain, is sampling, sampling things. I love it. I've tried so many methods and all of them gave me the most incredible experience. Of course, in the last 2 years, nothing compared to RTT, because that's just the way I feel, because I'll compare the methods. I see, okay, this is something good here, something good here. So nothing compared to me as RTT, because it's like a full journey, right? Full journey that has everything. But every method you choose is great. With the mood shifts, also, sometimes people are okay with that. They don't like it. It frustrates them. It annoys them, but they're okay with it. You're very often addicted to suffering. Addiction to suffering is one of the biggest problems of the world, of the universe. Addiction to suffering. We sometimes are addicted to something. We're used. It's so familiar that we cannot live without suffering. And suffering is part of our life. You cannot get rid of it completely, but you can definitely come out of those depressed moods, low emotional states much faster than you do right now. So I love you all. I hope that helps. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you discovered. I have, by the way, I have the meditations, the free meditations on my YouTube channel. And it says, why can't I change, I think. I love it. It's one of my favorite meditations, because it gives you the understanding of what's holding you back. For example, you want to change, but you cannot. Nothing seems to work, right? That is amazing. I love to do meditations that are not just listening and relaxing your body and giving yourself positive suggestions. I love to do the analysis meditation, where you go on a journey in the meditation, and when you find out a lot of amazing things about yourself. And you can uncover lots of things. So it's like self-hypnosis meditation. So if you've ever wondered what hypnosis is, try the free meditations. You're going to know how it feels. So love you all. Check my YouTube channel, lots of videos. Check my online courses. You will love You Are the Therapy. Is an incredible course. Has so much value in 3 weeks to completely change your perspective of the world. And it's an unbeatable price, really. So check it out. It's in my links. It's in my YouTube channel description. I love you all. Be healthy emotionally and physically. Bye.